Hi, I'm Steven and I make fonts as AeroType. Today I'm going to be looking at my family Lang and making some small caps, or at least making some drafts, some first drafts of small caps, and kind of seeing how it goes. I don't make small caps for every family. I don't think they matter or are useful in every font family necessarily. So, for instance, my family name Sans is a pretty extensive character set, but I sort of always felt like, does anybody really use small caps in like a geometric grotesque family? Basically, no. I'm sure that a few people do, and go ahead and comment if you do. But looking around at that genre, you don't see it very often, and you certainly don't see it used very often. I may do it someday, but kind of in families like that where the primary goal is to, well, the primary goal, a someday goal is to extend the character set to more scripts than just Latin. So I really want to add Cyrillic, for instance, but adding small caps adds to an already huge scope in a family where there's so many styles and sources and everything. So it would just kind of like add 30% more things to draw and manage. So sometimes it's not necessarily worth it. But okay, another example, Lang is a semi-slab serif. Um, it is kind of derived from old gravestone carvings. And so there, the inspiration has small caps, or at least like larger caps with small caps used fairly often. So kind of from like a conceptual standpoint, I know I want to add them. And then also, I do think this is more of sort of a traditional style, and I've seen it like laid out in kind of long form text, and it looks pretty good like that. So for those reasons, I do think that small caps really make sense here. So how do you make small caps? Um, of course, you could just draw them from scratch, and that is a perfectly valid way to go. You could also use a couple of tools to get you a little bit closer before you start to sort of draw them, if that makes sense. So, not drawing them from scratch, but scaling from existing uppercase to get into the ballpark and then fixing from there. So, I've done that here actually in this Lang Roman source. And I'll kind of show what I've done so far. It's not a ton, but it's a little bit. You can kind of maybe start to see them here. Um, so one thing I'm going to try to do is use Wordomat to generate a word list. Um, let's see, English, capitalize, use any characters. Okay. Of course, there's no small caps showing just yet. I think I still have to set up my small caps feature. So, oops. Let's see. Um, that's interesting that it's only picking up the numeral small caps. I would really expect it to do the uppercase as well. I wonder if I need to use classes or something. I'll have to do more research and exploration of this. I'm guessing the Glyphs website probably says somewhere, or like OpenType Cookbook probably says. Actually, let's look at it. OpenType Cookbook. This is a really cool website if you don't know it yet. I wonder if Tal talks about small caps in here. Yes. Small caps. So this is really helpful information. And caps to small caps. I see. So for small caps, you want lowercase by small caps, and for caps to small caps, you want everything. So for now, yeah, this I would expect to substitute like lowercase a by. Oh god, what? I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to update for everything. That's annoying. I mean, it's not necessarily bad, but it's just a lot more going on than I want here at the moment. Yeah, honestly, it's probably mostly good. I think in this family, I might have features written outside of glyphs at the moment. So why do caps to small caps? That's so weird. Maybe glyphs just doesn't do this? I don't get it. Well, we can do it easily enough. Or rather, I bet this is why, because it automatically picks up that we have capital Z dot SC for Z small cap, but we don't have lowercase z dot SC for small cap. So it's kind of thinking like, of course, this is an alternate for this, but it doesn't necessarily extend that to the general small caps feature. So I will just kind of do this in Python, I think. Let's do that. Okay, so Python 3, we want a string of this. Let's see if that works. We'll print it. Okay, that pretty much works. And then I think, oh God, I often forget the exact, no. I often forget the exact, oh, there it is. Okay, I don't know if that made any sense what I did, but yeah, you can just use Python in the terminal. So I opened up iTerminal, I did it. Let's see what happens if we just straight up paste it here. So we want to replace all of those \n's with actual \n's. Wait, actual. So Command Shift L in VS Code. Okay. Oh, darn it. That's kind of funny because we don't actually want these to be lowercase. Oh God, this should be so fast, but then it's not. So I guess we could go like for line in here and search for space, cap space, and then make it lowercase. That's one way. One other thing we could do is let's like copy this again and okay, let's copy these glyph names, one per line, and then let's try this. I'm doing like Option Command down arrow to add a multi-selector. Haha, okay. Reasonably efficient way to do it. That didn't make me have to type it all. So that's a win in my book. Okay. So let's save this. I know we're adding a bunch of extra features, but mostly I just want to see if this will allow me to, hey, cool, sweet. Whoa, it looks kind of cool. Forgive me, but this is the first time I've seen small caps. I'm just making the text view width a little bigger. First time I've seen small caps in Lang at all, so that's pretty exciting, to be honest. I do know that I want to change a few things. So one of the most obvious things is actually I've changed it only in the letter A so far. Basically, let's open a new tab for a second. I have matched the serif thickness, and not every serif family does this by any means, but I've matched the serif thickness in the uppercase and lowercase, and I feel like it works fine because this is a pretty high X height. But you can see that the small cap, because they're basically just scaled uppercase, this is really small. So something like that is what I'll have to do for all of these, which 144. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I mean, I'll go back and do that. I also have to do like C to SC. I have to make this kind of contrast lower so that it kind of like properly matches in between here somewhat. To be honest, I also wonder if the lowercase is a little, if like this looks lower contrast than this, maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a hard question. Well, maybe. The main thing that I know that I need to do, though, is make this lower contrast. Okay, but that's not the main thing. Well, that is something I want to actually record probably and share because I think that's primo content here. But what I wanted to do, which I think is more interesting, is talk about how you can get here kind of fast to this kind of basic place of small caps. And there's two main ways that I know of. I'm sure there are more. You could write a script. That's another one that's kind of Wild West or whatever, because you could do whatever you want. But so one of the main ways is called RMX tools, and it's pretty nice. I'll give a quick example of it. So you can duplicate your letters, and then we'll call this like SC1 because we already have an HSC. And then I'm going to turn off this small caps thing for a second and show this. Okay, so here we've got this. I'm just using the free version at the moment, actually, because I wanted to evaluate it. But it's pretty great for the most part. Like, you can... So basically, when you're making small caps, you don't want to just scale down because the weight will be way too light. So this kind of gives you some flexibility to, for instance, not decrease the weight at all, or maybe just decrease it very little in one master, and then decrease it a little more in another to get closer than you otherwise would. And in this free version of RMX Scaler, you can only go by 10% units for width and height. Fair enough. It's a nice product, so I still might buy it at some point for sure. Oh, why didn't that work? I guess they didn't scale it. That's annoying. Okay, well, it was something like this. And this is just an example. This isn't actually what I ended up using for most of my small caps because I wanted to achieve a certain small cap height, and I didn't want to pay $100 right now for RMX Scaler, so I tried another approach that I like quite a bit. And yeah, again, I'm a fan of Tim Arenz. I think RMX Scaler is nice, so I definitely might still buy it. I feel like I've bought it in the past at some point. I don't know. in any event, how did I do it without RMX Scaler? Well, I used RoboFont. And obviously, I guess at this point, if you've only got glyphs and you haven't already bought RoboFont, then RMX Scaler is the cheaper way to go. But if you do happen to have both, which I recognize might be an exceedingly small number of people, or if you only have RoboFont, which probably a slightly bigger number of people than people who go between them. I'm not a statistician, so oh well. Let's see. I'll go through it. So here is the family's project. I'm going to copy the path of the italic glyphs package, and this is, let's see, I'm using a tool called glyphslib, which is part of FontMake actually, but basically it's got a function in here called glyphs to UFO, and you can pass a glyphs source like this, and then we'll just run it. Oops. I need to activate my virtual environment. That's an alias, by the way, which means source then activate. Yeah. This isn't a show about that, but virtual environments are nice. So now we'll try this again. And we do have that tool. All right, so it's telling me I've got lots of background layers, but here you can see that these showed up. So that's pretty cool. Now all we can do is, what was that, Command Option R to show them in Finder, and we'll pop them open in RoboFont. Okay, so, whoops, that is not what we want. We want them in RoboFont, please. I just recently wiped my computer and started again. So a few of my usual settings are a little different. I just really wanted a clean install with the new OS and such, and I was debugging a Python thing, which I should have just made a new user account to debug the Python thing, but I thought of that after I started the process of resetting. Okay, so here we have our UFOs. And by the way, how did I decide on the small cap height? Well, yeah, so basically, I'm just trying this app for the first time, Typeface app. And here, there's a cool thing where you can search for all of the typefaces that you happen to have with small caps. I don't have a huge font collection on this computer right now, actually, but just within these, there are some fonts I really like, and just kind of looking at those, doing some measurements in Illustrator, I kind of found that small caps tend to, vary, but tend to be around 105% of the lowercase height to like 120% of the lowercase height. So I thought that 110% of the X height should be about right. So let's try that. Yeah. And then in glyphs, let's see where we're at. I basically added a metric, called it small cap, filtered it to name contains.sc, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, I literally did like, this is Raycast, alternative to Alfred app, which I'm trying. 481 times 1.1 is 529. So that's where I got 530 for that. An interesting question that I just realized I have is, do small caps maintain the same height between bold and thin styles, or do they vary? I say that because lowercase x height almost always varies, but uppercase height almost never varies. So that is a very good question. All right, I'm gonna reveal my dirty secrets here. Here are the typefaces I checked for kind of precedence. Some typefaces don't have small caps, so like Canella, for instance, the contrast changes a lot between these two, and it's thinner than this. So that is an indication that even though we like turned on small caps in Illustrator, it's kind of fake small caps. So that doesn't really matter. Here's Fern by DJR. This is one of my favorite typefaces. Okay, so that is showing us that, at least in this example, the X height varies, small caps vary. Let's look at, oh, this was an interesting one. Oh no, swear doesn't vary any of the metrics across the optical size range, which I think is pretty strange, because like, why wouldn't you? But I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's reasons. They just wanted to only vary the contrast, which is fine. But let's see, does the weight change these things? That's what I want to know. Okay, so weight certainly changes the X height. Oh, and interestingly, the metrics do change for the black weight across the optical size range. So that's a little strange, but maybe there's a reason. But okay, so the X height once again grows. Let's. I was checking SF Pro as well, so let's kind of check that out. Bold. Yeah, it appears that. All right, once again, cap height remains the same. X height and small cap height expand. So 100% of the ones I'm checking are changing the X height with the changed weight. So that's, to me, a pretty good indication that, all right, just like users would expect the lowercase to change, they can reasonably expect the small cap to change. Cool. Okay, so that's nice news because that means I basically did it right. Kind of by accident in a way, because this isn't the type of information I know offhand, but that's why I check things. And you know, I should say, like, I don't just check and copy. Like, I do try to come up with logic inherent to my projects, and I also try to use my eyes to think, is this working how I want it to? And that's kind of a process that happens over time. But you need a first draft, and you might as well make your first draft something like within a reasonable range, is my theory of it. So that's why I will sometimes check what other people are doing. Okay, so here we are. Let's go to our extension ScaleFast. This is a pretty cool extension. Honestly, it sort of does probably more than I even understand. But the basic use case is not too complex. Basically, we can put glyphs here, and let's we want to scale these to 560. And you can see that this is a mess so far. I'm going to make this window bigger. But that's because our weight is kind of needs to come down by a bit. Or, you know, quite a bit maybe. To roughly match this. Oh. That's annoying. I should have checked the weight that because I already literally did this for the Romans and I should have done it at the same time, but I thought I'm going to test it. But okay, so what this basically means is what is the thickness of the vertical stem? So it is pretty much easy to check. We can just go ahead and measure it. So h.sc, what is this? 206. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Wonderful. 206. And if we want to, this may or may not be useful in an italic in particular, but we can alter and do these differently, which is super cool. So for instance, if I really wanted to get closer with this serif thickness right out of the gate, I could vary this. However, you can see it really disrupts like my letter C for it. Yeah. So I don't think that's necessarily worth it. Instead, I'm going to just let them both scale to this factor and call it good. The other reason I should have done this at the same time is that, or there's some sort of presets you can do. I think I've tried these and I don't really know how well they stuck in the past. But I think I did change the width slightly, which is unfortunate that I didn't like take notes. You should always take notes when you're designing something. I guess my head was in a messy place or something of the sort. Which, should a type designer ever admit that? Probably not. We will just, I think we just got to run a test, which is a bit annoying, but I don't know if there's a way around it. Because what I want to figure out is how to get close, I guess, with the first draft. So I had already deleted some of these UFOs, but we can probably bring them back just for this use case. And let's pop them open. Oh, no, no, I didn't want to open it in glyphs. Let me change this. Open with RoboFont. It's a UFO file. Come on. Okay. And all right. Oh, shoot. I hadn't yet done let's also pop these open again. Okay, so now we can kind of guess and check. So let's see. This is 716 width. Good to know. Let's just try this at 100%. We'll give it a go. I have some preset aliases. Wait. Okay. Control D to get out of Python. I have some preset aliases where if I say ABC, it copies the uppercase ABC, which is pretty nice. And I also want my numbers, and I'll do SC, and I'll just copy this string. New font, please. And basically, I want to see, does this meet 688? So I probably want it to be 716. So I'm going to say 688 divided by 716. I need to flip those. 104. Okay. 104.5. We'll round it to. Dear God. That's a funny glitch. Okay, so let's try to generate this and see if it's now 716. Wait, what? Why didn't... Okay, right. We wanted this. New font. Let's see. 712. Let's try 105. And it's kind of funny that we don't have the opportunity to easily strip off the Unicodes. That was a bit of a gotcha last time. Did it do it the same? Oh, wait, it didn't. Oh my God. Delete. 105. Whoa, what the? Somehow that went wild. Okay. Fifteenth time's a charm. Well, God, I'm going to go back to 104 because sometimes the italics should be a little more narrow than the Romans. So we'll use that justification. All right. I'm sure I'll have to, I don't know, go back and forth a little bit and refine things. But this is probably the better shot. I'm going to try one more time. Nope, it completely kills it. Okay. All right. Cool. So here we have those. And I also want to do it for thin italic. And this is kind of cool. By the way, this negative number says like how many units are you removing from the stems of the uppercase, I think. I think I had it at -2 for last time, and then this was 530. And I forget if this was different, but let's generate it and check. And where are you? Was it here? No. This was 647. Oh no, 609. Why do I always do that? 106. All right, we'll try 106. Oh, but what we actually need to do, I think, is 104 times 106. I think we actually need 110. Usually this has a global shortcut. I don't know why that's not working at the moment. We'll figure it out later. Okay. 643. Where are we? 647. Okay, well, ballpark. Pretty close. And I think we'll probably want to change it a bit anyway. But, all right, so we have these, and I'm going to save them into a reasonable place. Small cap prep, right. Let me lang italic. Okay, and we'll do that for this one as well. Black. Okay. Now, let's close out of all of our RoboFont windows. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm realizing that I could just regenerate the Roman small caps because I've barely touched them in glyphs. But one thing at a time, I think. So let's pop these open in glyphs. Yes, now I do want to open UFO files in glyphs. One thing to do, this doesn't use the capital O anymore. We want it to use O.smallcap. Wait, this is not the one I want. Sure, we'll save that change. We want to be in here. So what? So, okay, date modified. That's annoying. Okay, sources right at the top. Small cap prep. Open with glyphs, please. Cool. All right, now let's try this again. Cool. I had it on my clipboard. Did these not get the suffixes? They did not. That's super annoying. I mean, I guess I could add the suffixes. I wish I would have just done that. Let's see. Let's open this with RoboFont again. Close it here. Don't save. Let's see. I think there was a suffixing thing. I could also just suffix. You know what? We're just going to do a script. See if I can remember how to script in RoboFont for a second. F equals current font print F. Wow, this is tiny text. I have to bring back my old RoboFont settings. Python select Let's get a super cool font like name mono. Where are you? Oh, AT name mono. Ha. And we'll make it kind of big for now, so it is maybe somewhat readable on the video. Okay, so current font, yes. For G and F, this will actually be really easy. G.name plus equals .sc, Command R to run it. Boom. All right, cool. That wasn't hard at all. All right, save it. Yes, please. And let's open it again with glyphs. Cool. Now we can add component o.smallcap. Cool. All right, so here's something that I didn't realize for the longest time in glyphs. In RoboFont, it's very easy and obvious to just copy a range of glyphs and paste them onto another range of glyphs. Glyphs doesn't make it quite as easy, which is sort of funny, but it's not hard. I just hadn't bothered looking up how to do it. And in a way, it not doing it is a way to protect you from accidentally doing it. So yeah, I see the reason. So we want to open up our lang italic, glyphs package, and we want to be in font. And so the first one, actually, let's see. The first time you copy and paste new glyphs between documents in glyphs, it's pretty darn easy. We're just going to copy all of these, Command C, come over here, Command V, and there, it copied it with the names. Pretty solid, but there are a couple of problems. So for one thing, there's not yet glyphs copied in the black version, or the black source / master. And if we simply try to copy this, like we'll just do one letter. Fine, we'll do 3 letters to make it more annoying. Command V. It pastes them, and not even into this layer. It pastes them into this layer. That's not what I want, obviously. What I do want is I can go to edit, and I literally just had to look this up on the forum. Paste special, selected glyphs, content of active layer, and now, boom, they're there. So that's pretty nice. Not hard at all. Copy. Paste special, content of active layer. Let's do that for these as well. And I think there's, so it's, okay. Command Option V does it. Do these have, these don't have the metric yet, so let's set that up. I could either, sure, I'll just bring it over from here. Oh. Command paste. And this should be 530. Cool. So now it's in there. Yeah, I see the spacing is a little messed up. And also, these probably currently have Unicodes. That was one other thing I had to solve in this. Yeah, they do. So the problem there is that when they have Unicodes, and we try to type, for instance, I'm going to say capital Unicode. I was holding shift the whole time, and it didn't give me the actual uppercase. It gave me these small caps because they've got Unicode values. So that is easy enough to solve. I wrote a quick script to go through, and I'll post this up on my very basic set of error type glyph scripts on GitHub in case you are interested. But basically, this gets the glyphs font, goes through the selected layers, gets the glyph associated with that layer, and sets the Unicode to none. And so if I run that script, okay, I still need to connect my glyph script folder. Instead of bothering with that at the moment, I'm going to do macro panel. I think I already had it in here. I did. And I'll run it. And let's check if it worked. Cool. So now the Unicode is empty. And for instance, if we try our Unicode test again, Unicode, we now have our actual capital letters. So that is very good news. Yeah. And so now if we, let's look at Wordomat for this font. Make words. We'll have to set up the features. I wish I could set up both of them. Wait, maybe I can just copy. Copy paste. That seems to work. And I have to update features maybe. Small capitals. Hell yeah. All right. The flavor of these is through the roof. It's so fun for some reason to see. I know these aren't finished, but it's really fun to see this kind of text. Somehow it looks like the Old West to me. I guess it's kind of that Rockwell sort of flavor of type. Similar sort of slab serif. And somehow seeing it with like the uppercase to small caps just looks even more like that to me. I don't exactly know if that's logical or not, but yeah. All right, well, that is kind of a long way to put it, but that's me working through these things. And yeah, I mean, there's still more work to do, obviously. I'll have to go through and correct the contrast, probably adjust the spacing to make sense. I didn't really pay super close attention to the spacing adjustments as I was generating these. I will have to go and make sure that they have the correct anchors, which they do not yet. Mostly that might be a Command U kind of thing. But then I'll have to move these all. And then I'll want to generate the, I wonder if I need the top left one. Then I'll have to generate the diacritics that use these, etc. So yeah, it's quite a bit of work left to do. Even if you can generate small caps kind of quickly, they are, you know, a significant scope addition to a typeface. That said, yeah, again, I think they're worth it in this particular family. So looking forward to adding them. And I may or may not record that and share that process. probably will try to share at least part of it because, again, I think it's, I don't know, for anybody who's subscribed to this, apparently you like watching slightly boring things. Somebody drawing type. So I will share it if I'm up for it. All right. Well, I'll call it good for this session, and I need to go take a 10-minute decompression break, and then I don't know, I'll figure it out, maybe get back to it. Thanks so much for watching. If you're working on any sort of projects right now, I hope they're going great. I hope you're having a good day. Take care.